I'm going to give you my favorite combination of hacks, so to speak, that help me dig my way out of a really bad place from my late teens, early 20s. I drove my body like a stolen car until I was about 35. And then I crashed and burned. I had colitis. And so I used this combination of hacks, I guess, so to speak, to overcome my colitis, which I had gotten from just working too hard, not sleeping enough, just constantly on the go, too much stimulants, et cetera, et cetera. And it's evolved over the years. But I give this combination of simple hacks to people that I work with that are either super hard chargers that are having to push the envelope, and this is going to help buy them some forgiveness, or people that are just completely cooked like I was. And the combination is, I'll start with the fancy one first, and the one that costs a little bit of money, but we can make it non-fancy. Is float tank once a week. If you are in a bad place, if you're having to push hard, if you're having to work too many hours, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you can get a float tank session in once a week and completely let go in that float tank and relax for a whole hour, it'll buy you a ton of forgiveness. I know this firsthand. I know this from people that I've worked with who are, under a lot of stress. They're in pre-med or they're an attorney or they're doing some sort of craziness. If you can get 1 hour of float a week, big difference, especially in the evening. It'll help your sleep. It'll help everything improve over the whole week. If you can't do the float tank, if there isn't one near you, or you can't do it every week, every other week is fine. The other thing you can do instead of the float tank is restorative yoga, which restorative yoga is basically they prop you up with bolsters in different positions and they have you breathe, which is great for, have you breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. You basically do a whole hour of breathing, which helps calm you down and relaxes you. And it's not active. It's not exercise. It's just basically they walk you through like a meditation. And you could also do massage as long as it's not like, some Russian lady beating the crap out of you with a baseball bat. It's has to be more restorative, kind of massage. Or acupuncture works well as well. If you could do something like that once a week where you have to schedule it, or every other week, combined with walking outside 3 times a day, which is the second one, which is free, which I start people with. People today are just so busy. They're on their phones. They're working. They're never shutting off, particularly highly driven people. They're in meetings. They're constantly talking on the phone. They're listening to podcasts. They're doing all sorts of stuff. I don't know why my camera's blurry like this. I gotta fix it. I've had a lot of internet fun here lately, but that's besides the point. The getting outside, putting the tongue in the roof of your mouth, and just walking is observation, listening to the birds sing. I know it sounds really ippy dippy and goofy woofy and all that stuff, but just getting out in nature itself calms you down. Now, it started out for me when I crashed and burned. I didn't understand the importance. I knew I liked going outside, but I didn't understand the importance of circadian rhythm. I started with binaural beats. I started with like meditation. Now, if you can't get outside, like say you can only get outside twice a day, you could do a 10-minute non-sleep deep rest. You could do some Tai Chi, something flowing, something relaxing. But ideally, we want to get outside. We want to get in nature. We want to get the light in our eyes. We want to get the light in our skin. That combination of walking 3 times a day, okay, as an observation, not as exercise, it's to calm you down. It's to help you chill. Combined with float tank, I mean, it can dig you out of a really deep hole. I've seen it dig people out of very deep holes, including myself, over and over again. And it can make up for a lot of shenanigans. Like if you're having to push really hard, you're not getting all the sleep you need. That float tank plus those walks multiple times a day to help lower your stress level, to help calm yourself down, to get your circadian rhythm back in order. You can buy yourself a lot of forgiveness. So give that a try. Every other week, if you can, would be great. If you're pushing really hard, I would recommend once a week. Okay. And then the walking part, I mean, that should be just a no-brainer. It's totally free. It helps with everything: circadian rhythm, digestion, hormone production. I mean, it's, what was that? Was it Zellers or Kmart were the best things in life for free? I'm dating myself. But, these simple little things, I speak to people all the time. They're like, I thought it was so simple. I didn't really think it would make that big a difference. And then they take it seriously and they're like, wow, I've been doing all these other fancy things. Who would have thought that a 10-minute walk done consistently, breathing through my nose, would move the needle as much as it has. And I see it time and time again. So I'd love to see you in one of my groups, men's group, women's group. I started the calls back up in my men's group. We're going every other week. I think Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern is when we're doing the calls. So this Wednesday will be the men's call. That's Vitality Brotherhood. And then the week after that, the women's call is going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern as well, but it's on Monday. So, and it's every other Monday, and it's every other Wednesday for the men. And we get on there, we just chat. It's a decaf coffee call. Obviously, it's at 6 o'clock at night. We just chat. We let people know how they're doing. They let me know how they're doing. We ask questions. We keep each other accountable. The groups themselves are great. It's fairly active, and there's recipes on there. There's strength training stuff. I just commented on an article about dementia and strength training. People ask a lot of great questions, and I try and provide simplicity for people and try to keep things less complex, because obviously what you take action on is going to really be the big deal. And we want to build our foundation on the 5 fundamentals, which is walk outside 3 times a day, eat a protein at every meal, get the lights off at night, drink high quality water, preferably spring water, and social connection. Generally speaking, for the vast majority of people, there are some exceptions based on goals, performance goals, particularly with diet and supplementation and all that stuff. If you're chasing performance, that's a totally different animal, right? But generally speaking, those 5 habits are going to be the foundation of wellness and performance. And then it's a matter of tweaking and figuring out what you want, what trade-offs are you willing to accept, and which ones are you not. So I got my new internet. I've been playing around with it. Hopefully, I had to kind of play around with the settings a little bit. Hopefully, this is going to work out better on the live streams, and it will be more consistent. It will allow me to do these more consistently. So have yourself a great day. Make sure you take the time to get outside. Make sure you go check out Vitality Brotherhood, Vitality Sisterhood. I'd love to see you in there. I'd love to see you on the coaching calls. I'd love to get to know you. Leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you think. Is this a great combination of hacks? I think it is. I think it's the 2 of the most powerful things you can do. Most people today are just pushing so hard in their head, and they're running all the time, and they're so busy. They very rarely take the time to slow down. So if you just slow down a little bit and then have one massive slowdown once a week, man, you'll notice a huge difference. So take care. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you again soon. Make sure you take time to get outside.